said it, and you're not wrong. This drag racing incident. I know what I think of it in my mind. It's attempted manslaughter is what it is. Mm-hmm. You go out in a freeway in a busy city and drive 120 miles an hour in a race with somebody else that you basically arranged
at a busy time of day.
They're not. He wasn't
Dallas
out.
Traffic.
He wasn't out in the prairie.
Yeah.
Okay, I might even. Okay, whatever. Boys will be boys. This is Dallas Metroplex traffic. That's attempted manslaughter. Is the way I view it. Mm-hmm. And then 4 weeks later, he gets involved with something else, and let's hope that this part of the story where they say that he enticed the photographer to come back to the club so he could club him, that better not be true. I think what we should prepare for is the fact that we should be delighted as Chiefs fans, because I don't think he's going to get banged for the entire season, but I think he should be. I think that incident's unbelievably awful.
I think he might. And if this thing plays out the way it could, I think they could bang him for a season.
But he was just so lucky.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, okay, first of all, you're lucky if there isn't an accident if you're doing that. He isn't, name one of those high-speed drivers from back in the day, Dan Bondurant or one of those guys. I mean, this is just a regular person driving 125 miles an hour on a highway that's packed with other vehicles. It's ridiculous.
When you see the video, you are amazed. They're like, how did that not end up with a multiple fatality?
Right. And this is maybe not an exact. It's like shooting and missing. I mean, you were still trying. And he didn't go out there with the intent, obviously, to get in an accident, but that's what you're basically saying you're willing to risk. So I think if he gets 8 games, that's off scot-free in my mind. And so, let's, from a football standpoint, I get a little queasy even talking about it from a football standpoint still, but he is a football player. He's going to play football again, in all likelihood, and he's going to do it for the Chiefs, and he's probably going to play next season at some point. So I don't think it really affects them that much from a football standpoint. They've already proved that they can win with a bad wide receiver room. I mean, their receivers stunk last year. They had a 900-yard receiver, and the next best receiver had 400 and change. I mean, that's pitiful when you have Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback.
Yes.
Pitiful.
Even with Kelsey, that's pretty bad.
I mean, the number 1 and number 2 combined is about what your first receiver should be, like even par.
Especially in a 17-game season.
1,300 yards. I mean, come on. It's 80 yards a game.
Yeah.
For your best receiver. So I think the Chiefs are going to end up being fortunate, because I think that he's the path, and also what Brett Veach should be thinking about is the fact that apparently it's becoming more and more evident that they basically rolled the dice on Rashee Rice.
I think one of the arguments that was made back in the Kareem Hunt situation was that I don't think anybody thought he was going to be banned for life in the NFL. You knew he was going to play again. And the reason I say this is because, Danny, you said Rashee Rice is going to play football again, and you believe it's going to be for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
The Chiefs decided with Kareem Hunt, he lied to us, he's not going to play football for us again. With this situation of Rashee Rice, do you see them taking that approach of, look, if we make the drastic decision, which we all know the drastic decision is we're going to outright release him, he's going to play somewhere, even if he's suspended the entire year. Somebody's going to pick him up and go, he's learned from his situation. Do you think the Chiefs are playing or going to play this slow because once it all comes out, and even if it is a full year, you'd rather still have a full year of rehabilitation, we'll call it, staying out of trouble, and then in 2025, he'll be back on your team instead of playing for somebody else under a new contract?
I think the Kareem Hunt situation was just an outlier. The Chiefs' track record, and I can't exactly remember the exact timing right then, but the Chiefs have had so many things like this in the Andy Reid and eventually Brett Veach regime, where they took a chance on this person, that person, whatever, that maybe that, and I can't remember whether they had been 2 or 3 within a short period of time, so they said Kareem Hunt, and they said it was because he lied. I don't know. But it's clear that didn't become company policy because they've continued to do it and take in Kadarius Toney and all these people with questionable backgrounds, and Rashee Rice. We find out, we're finding out even more. That's the problem for Rashee Rice. Like I said, most of the stuff that there were the slightest of whispers that there was some talk about Rashee Rice maybe not being but it wasn't very loud. I don't remember on draft night anybody saying well, boy, checkered past. I mean, I did the draft here when Tyreek Hill was drafted.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it was like immediate furor.
Yes,
there was
the topic of the day was.
There was nothing. It was nothing like that in his case. So, I think that I'll be shocked if he gets 10 games. I think if this incident goes to even charges. I mean, I've heard some people talk about the fact that maybe he'll be able to play this year because all this stuff won't be adjudicated. Well, I think that's not going to happen because he's admitted to the first offense. He said he did it. So I don't think they're going to wait on that, even though it might still be.
Have to wait on that.
Yeah, and they don't have to, but I think they can't. They're not even going to lean on that because he's already said he did it. This particular case, the one with the assault, and then there's some others we're hearing about, but that might still be in the courts for sure. So maybe they won't ladle it on. Maybe he'd end up getting suspended in consecutive years. I don't know, but I think he's going to get off what will, in my mind, be easy. So that's what I think the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs currently, the way I think about it, I think they can plan on some football for him, and at the most important time of the year.
All right, we're going to take a quick break and come back and wrap up Danny Unleashed next on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
Hey, Kansas City, Joe Spiker, Easton Roofing, back for another beautiful springtime in Kansas City. We are proud to announce our renewed partnership with Big Brothers Big Sisters of Kansas City. Starting in 2024, a portion of every job sold will be donated to a cause close to my heart. I was a big, and I encourage you to volunteer. And if you hire us for service on your residential or commercial roof, you'll know that a portion of the profits will go to a great cause. So call us at 913-257-5426. Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
Danny's moment is in.
Indeed.
We are wrapping up Danny Unleashed right here on the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Oh, big sighs of relief all across the Metroplex.
Well, we have to send you off with the
disappointed woman from the Current Stadium this morning. Damn it! It's over already.
It's over already. Just a mere hour. An hour.
Time flies. Danny, before we let you go,
sounds ominous.
Yeah, I know. This is a real big buildup, isn't it?
Son, you should be saying, Daniel,
bring your playbook.
Well, I want to circle back to what you said with Rashee Rice, and I know you said you feel like at this point he can maybe get off scot-free, which could be like 8 games, right? Playing this year.
I think 8. Yeah, I kind of feel like he'll get half a season.
Half a season.
And then if the assault charge hits, then maybe it's up for grabs. I don't know.
Well, before you came on the show, Zay Jones, who was in town visiting with the Chiefs, he ends up signing with Arizona. Do you feel like at this point, with the unknown of Rashee Rice and the suspension and how this all plays out, do you think they need to make a move to bring in some insurance, or do you just stick it out with the group that you have, being Hollywood, being Worthy, being Watson, Toney, Sky Moore, and I guess we have to add in Justin Ross to that conversation because he's still on the roster. Is that group good enough at this point? Kind of comparing it to last year, they didn't really have that great of a group.
Well, they're good enough.
Good enough to get through without their number 2.
Clearly, they're good enough. They did it last year. I just said it. The receivers were god-awful last year. Awful. There's no, it took a while for Rashee Rice to get rolling, and then he was a good receiver, very good receiver for them. The rest of it's just flotsam and jetsam. It's awful. So they've proven they can win with dreadful wide receiver play. Now, the only problem here is if that next year's the year where Travis Kelce all of a sudden becomes just a guy, because that's always been the fallback for them, that he's really part of the wide receiver group, whatever you want to call it, and he's made up for a lot of it because he has been the best receiver since Tyreek Hill has left, whether not by position, but just their biggest weapon out there. So that probably is the danger. Travis Kelce was still very good last year, and he was even better towards the end of the year. If he's just okay, then they might have problems. But what are problems? Their defense was excellent last year, and I can't imagine it taking a gigantic step back. What if they lost? All they get is guys who are improved. One defensive back they lost, but that's a real strength as a group there. So they won the Super Bowl. Yes, I think they've shown. Zay Jones seemed to be the last remaining thing that they may have really liked. They liked him enough to bring him in, but I think they've shown. One thing we've seen that is an oddity, and it would be very easy for Brett Veach to never admit it because it makes him look like he's, his job is so easy, which it kind of is. For him to say, well, Pat will take care of it. Everybody says, we have to avoid the, well, maybe they don't. I mean, last year that was not a great offense, and it was not a good wide receiver group at all, and they still won the Super Bowl. So I think that like I said, I think that Rashee Rice will play football by the end of the season. So I think, yes, with the group that they have, they're certainly capable of winning with it.
Is Xavier Worthy going to be somebody from day one, week one, you go, kind of treat him the same way they did with Rashee Rice? Rashee Rice, by default, kind of got thrusted into that number 2 role because Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney weren't good enough. Is he somebody day one you can count on to be a big-time contributor?
Well, they probably won't say it because what we'll have to hear again is that tired old story about how complicated their playbook is. It's football, okay? Let's not dress it up too much. All we ever hear is two things. First of all, the playbook is too complicated. Second of all, how is he going to work in pass protection? That's the running back one. Jeez. I mean, come on now. I mean, what we're talking off the field stuff where guys are absolute idiots in what they're doing. And, you're not going to load up too much with somebody who goes drag racing at 125 miles an hour. Yeah. So I think the bottom line is the Chiefs will be fine. Have fun discussing it. They'll be fine.
Thanks for stopping by, Danny. We'll talk to you next week.
Maybe.
We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Klingscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new. This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture, with 8 convenient locations in the Kansas City metro. Dr. Brad Woodle and his friendly team will improve your health and outlook with every visit. Find out more at asfca.com/Danny.